Hi, welcome to Cassandra Java tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be creating a key space called demo, and we will be trying to connect to the cluster and the key space demo. And let me execute this code line by line, and then I'll try to explain what is happening in this and how do we do this. So what happens is we create an instance for cluster and session, and then we try to run this insert query just similar to an SQL query. And let me just comment out the other things, and let us see when we just run the first query. Okay, before that, I'll just show you what is there in our DB right now. So if I run select star from users, we don't have anything in the DB. Once we run this, we execute the statement, and let's see what is there in this after this. Once this gets executed, and we can see that there is one record which gets successfully inserted in the DB. Now the next step is, after this, what it does is, let me just comment this out and uncomment the update query. Update query is again like the SQL query in which we are updating the age from 35 to 36. We run this again, and now again we execute the statement. We can notice the age becomes 36 over here. Initially it was 35. We just repeat the same step again. We uncomment the other query and run the same thing again, and this time it's a delete query, and now what we see is the record gets deleted. So now this was pretty much easy as being the first part of the tutorial. Now let's go to the second part of the tutorial. What it does is, now what we are going to do here is, it's advanced version of the previous console application, where we'll now over here we'll be exploring some connection policies, some prepared statements, and query builder methods. So now let's see the code line by line, and I'll be explaining what these terms mean. So what we'll do here is, let's just have a look at it. Uh, Over here we have cluster, session cluster. It's connecting to the local host. After that we have something known as retry policy. What retry policy does is, retry policy is nothing but just to determine the behavior to adopt when a request either times out or if a node is unavailable. And after that we have something known as load balancing policy. What load balancing policy will do is, it will determine which node it is to run a query, and if a node receives a read or a write on some other node, it will coordinate that request for that particular client. And after that we have something known as token aware policy. What does token aware policy does is, it ensures that the request will go to the node. And there is something known as new DC aware round robin policy, and what it does is, it makes sure that the request stays in the local data center. And once all the session and the cluster instances get declared with all these properties, we just go and execute the statements. So there is something known as prepared statement. Prepared statement, what it does is, it needs to be passed just once by the cluster, and then when the values are bound to variables, and then we can execute the bound statements to read and write things from the cluster. And after that, when we do the select query, the query builder, what it does is, it is little more secure than what we initially used to have, and this saves us from some SQL injection attacks. And the rest of the code is nothing but just the same. How we update, how we how we insert. It was basically insert before. How we insert, how we update, and after that how we delete. We can do it step by step as well, like I did for the previous tutorial, or we can just see it once. In this case, there won't be anything in the DB, because once the record gets inserted, then it gets updated, and finally it gets deleted. So if I try to run a select query, it will not be showing anything to us. So if we want to run this, we can do it step by step, else it will be exactly the same how it worked for the first tutorial. So that's all about it, and thank you.